Hi, I'm RavenWynd.
I'm Rain. I had to think.
I feel like it's been so long since I've recorded a podcast. I'm not sure what my name is.
Very impressive.
The Offspring is here.
We are in scenic location.
We are actually outside. Remember this, people, because
Yeah.
it doesn't happen very often.
Pain and misery right here.
Yeah. So if you hear some random children laughing, I promise we haven't kidnapped anybody to sacrifice them.
Aww.
So today we're going to talk about Mercury.
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 Because that came out great.
That's great.
Retrograde. I do have two different sources on this one. astrologyzone.com and then the NewYorkPost.com. So
The New York Post.
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Huh.
What?
And it's funny because the one what I pulled from them is like it's bullshit. So,
Oh, I have to ask before we get started. So you've seen all the posts about that Facebook page where the guy started as a joke, saying he's going to storm Area 51.
yeah,
But now there's like 400,000 some odd people saying they're going to show up to storm Area 51.
I think it's stupid.
That's like a death wish.
It is. Like, I mean, first
Hey,
of
means
all,
those people on the planet.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, if they do it, like they're going to die.
Yeah.
Like the military,
No mercy.
it doesn't matter how many you are in number. Like it's restricted area.
And our military, especially on a base with aliens, has weaponry that we can't
Yeah.
even fathom in our minds.
Well, and to be honest, the soldiers are probably hoping that they do it.
They want to try out their
They
shit.
do, and they're probably bored, and they're like, hey, it's a little bit of excitement.
That's hot out here.
So it is hot outside, but at least we're under a pavilion.
I'm just glad they put boob sweat deodorant.
Yes.
Before it came out
Boob
here.
sweat.
We prepared for boob sweat today.
I did as well.
Yes.
Yes, I have enough deodorant under my tatas. I could be a stripper under the hot lights, because that's what they do. So if you do any bit of stargazing, you're going to see that Mercury appears to move backward. And actually, that's just what ancient astrologers would have perceived thousands of years ago as well. And this happens for about a 3.5 week period, and then the planet will reverse itself and move forward again. Now,
But it's not actually
going backwards. Like it's not like the planet stopped, flipped it, and reversed it, like Missy Elliott.
What is it? Slap it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
It's not like it just woke up one day. It's like, you know what? I think I'm just going to go backwards today. No.
Mercury's like, fuck you.
Fuck you. I do what I want. Mercury is the planet that's situated closest to the sun. So its orbit is much shorter than Earth's. About 3 or 4 times a year, Mercury speeds past Earth, and that's when we experience the retrograde period. If you were in a car and another car passes you, you could tell that it was going faster than you. But if it slowed down and then you passed it, it would appear as though the car was actually going backwards. And I'm sure everyone's experienced that, like on the interstate and stuff.
I never pay attention to care.
The example I would use is how tires, when they're moving on cars, they're going forward, but it looks like they're spinning backwards.
Yeah. That's a good example.
Oh God, the children are getting closer.
I'm telling you.
Do they like us?
As Mercury speeds by, it's like, a train that's flying past, creating a powerful, turbulent gust of, quote unquote, wind in its wake. The turbulence and disruption that Mercury creates when it retrogrades can affect what we feel on Earth in our everyday lives. Now, so that's what they're saying. Like that's, because it's actually going faster because its orbit is closer to the sun than us. It's just orbiting more times. We take a longer time to go around. Now, of course, you and I don't really believe in Mercury retrograde like everybody else.
I don't
No.
even know what it is.
You don't need to be honest. I mean, I'm going to go through and explain it and things that people believe. Well, you can, yeah, it's bullshit, I think.
Can I know what it is?
Well, I'm getting there. Patience is a virtue.
Existence is futile.
Resistance.
I like existence is futile.
Existence is futile.
She has spent way too much time with you.
She really has. Geez. So some of the areas that they say that Mercury rules, like communication, listening, speaking, learning, reading, editing, researching, negotiating, selling, and buying. It also rules all formal contracts and agreements, as well as important documents such as book manuscripts or term papers, agreements, deeds, contracts, leases, wills, and so forth. Included under this planet's domain are all types of code, including computer codes, transportation, shipping, and travel. When this planet retrogrades, these areas tend to get scrambled or spin out of control.
Supposedly.
So so why, why? If you're going to believe this, why is that happening? When a planet retrogrades, astrologically, it's in the resting or sleeping state. Therefore, while Mercury, quote unquote, naps, the activities that it governs don't have the benefit of a well-functioning, wide-awake planet to supervise them. So you should expect a certain degree of pandemonium to ensue. That's a lot of areas.
Basically, it's saying don't do anything.
Yeah, you need to, if you have a panic room, go in your panic room, go to your root cellar, go to bed, cover up with a blanket,
Murder somebody.
Well, that's what we're trying to avoid.
You don't want to murder anybody during any phase of, planetary alignment.
But why, Ben?
Because you wouldn't look good in orange. And I don't think you'd fare well in prison.
And you're such a picky eater, you'd starve to death.
Oh, yeah.
She would end up ruling prison.
What?
She'd be like Red in
Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, she'd be the one that's kind of making everything.
You get a pudding.
Yeah.
You don't get pudding.
Yeah. So what should you do and what should you not do during a retrograde phase? And there's a lot. What I found, it's a lot that you shouldn't do. So basically, you're right.
Yeah.
Just stay home. Don't communicate with anyone. Don't go anywhere. Don't do anything.
I have noticed when I was online the past few days doing readings for the network, all kinds of people are coming in with readings about relationship problems. My relationship was great, and all of a sudden it went to shit. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
It's a retrograde.
Yeah, I did hear a lot on the Instagram that retrogrades destroy relationships.
That's only...
We don't believe in that.
Yeah.
And we're going to, when we get to the part where it's bullshit, we'll talk about that. But, here's the thing. If you want to believe in it and it is affecting your life, fine, whatever. We've always said on this podcast that you're free to think and believe whatever you want to think and believe. And that's why I'm kind of presenting both sides of it, so that people who feel maybe it is affecting me, but I don't really understand it, they can at least get some understanding.
Well, I have a theory.
Do you want to say your theory now, or you want to wait to the bullshit section of the...
I want to see it now.
Okay.
This theory is not researched in any way.
Good to know, Mom.
Shape or form.
She never does any research for anything. Anything.
Sounds like me.
Yes.
I've noticed a lot of people in the online pagan communities say they are not affected at all. They think it's crap. And an equal number of people say their life falls apart. So my theory is that people born under certain signs and certain planets are affected, and everybody else isn't. There's my theory, people. Be in awe of me.
Well, and I don't remember if I have it in here or not, because because as I do, I read a lot when I research it, and not all of it makes it in. So we may get to that in a second. I don't know, but I do remember reading somewhere that because I'm Cancer, and Cancer is opposite of Mercury, that it will affect me more strongly than other people, but it doesn't.
No.
Means you're special.
So, but that could just be because both you and I believe in the law of attraction, and because I don't put any credence to it whatsoever. I'm not attracting that to myself.
Well, like if you were somebody that believed in it, the past couple days at your work,
yeah,
it's been like every other day at work, but
yeah,
you would attribute every pain in the ass thing at work to goddamn Mercury Retrograde.
Yeah.
It's actually like that
it's
all
just
the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
So what should you do and what should you not do?
Tell me.
Don't make any important moves when Mercury is in retrograde. Nothing will be settled successfully for the future during these periods. You will find it nearly impossible to nail down a plan. During a retrograde period, it is hard to get decisions from others. Even if a decision is made, it will be subject to change, either just after Mercury returns direct or much later. Retrograde periods would not be good times to do anything involving communication, such as launch a magazine, website, or advertising like a public campaign.
So we're not supposed to talk to people.
No,
Sounds
can't
like
talk
a great
to people.
Plan. We're gonna sign up.
Can't do anything with our, with the website, nothing like that, during this time. A retrograde period is not a good time to sign any contracts or even shake hands on any new agreements. Do not close on a house during this time or sign a lease.
I'm not going to be shaking anybody's hand.
Well, you don't shake hands anyway.
No.
You walk into a hospital with your own container of Clorox wipes. Like, you really do.
I was cleaning your room when you...
Well, and I will say this. There was blood in the floor.
Yeah.
They put me in, I went into the emergency room, and the little bay that they put me in, there was legit blood in the floor that hadn't been cleaned up.
Yeah.
So, but you're sitting there, wiping down the bed that I'm going to lay on. And you're, wiping down, your seat that you're going to sit in.
And I'm looking at you and I go, don't touch anything.
You always tell me that anywhere we go.
Yeah.
Well, people are nasty.
Well, remember that one time she was like, you need to wash your hands, and you licked your hands, and then you got sick?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you should
No
listen.
regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets. Verbal agreements are considered the same as written ones, so you wouldn't want to make any verbal agreements either. The environment will be quite fluid and changeable no matter what you're told or what you think. It's not that the people you're dealing with are necessarily, trying to cause you problems. It's just that nobody can fully predict, what conditions will be like later. If you start a new job, it won't necessarily be the position that you thought it was when you accepted it. If you're a that's it. I think that's every job.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care what, when you do that.
Every single job I've had, I'm so grateful when I get it. I consciously tell myself, I am never going to complain about this job. A few weeks in, I'm like, you know what? This is some bullshit right here. I don't know what's happening, but it's bullshit.
Let me out of here.
It's
hot.
If you're a manager, you will have difficulty choosing the right candidate for a job. So if you can, hold off hiring anyone. Because, your business can just wait.
Almost a month.
Almost a month for you to... If you buy a house, problems could crop up later that were completely like you didn't anticipate it. But here's my thing: anytime you buy a house, problems are going to come up.
Everything is going to require maintenance.
Yeah.
I don't care if you buy a mansion that was just built. Eventually, you're going to have to fix something.
Because even if you were saying, if it's a brand new house, no one's lived in it but you. But that's the point: no one's lived in it, so no one has actually ran it and done the things that you do in a home.
Yeah.
So you would know that there's a problem.
Houses do fall apart quicker when no one's in them.
And then with you, when you guys bought your house, no one had been living in it for a little while.
Right.
So you were the first ones back in there. So there were little things that had to be that. I don't care what time period you buy a house, you're going to have that problem. They're saying that you should not have plastic surgery or other elective surgery when. Now, this one, they're saying it's more than just Mercury. They're saying when Mercury, Venus, or Mars are retrograde, you shouldn't have any surgery or elective or any plastic surgery.
Could you imagine calling up a doctor's office to schedule your shit?
I'd be like, oh, no, I'm sorry.
I can't do it when Venus, whatever, and Mercury are in retrograde. Mars, my bad.
Yeah, well, no, Venus, Mercury, and Mars.
They'd be like, bitch, you are crazy.
Yeah. And I like how they did point out, and I'm going to point out too, just because there's a dumbass everywhere you go.
Yeah.
That if it's an emergency, and you need to have the surgery, fucking have the surgery.
Did you see somebody laying there in the ER with their arm hanging off?
Yeah.
No, I have to wait.
Yeah. Just 2 more days, doc. Just 2 more days. But if they say if you do have a choice, when to schedule an operation or procedure, then you should avoid those times. It says that, those are periods when mistakes are more prone to happen than at other times, or when judgment is off. Your surgeon is under the same conditions as you. So you shouldn't be having that done because I guess Mercury could be ass raping your surgeon.
That sounds painful.
Yeah,
Mercury needs to go to jail.
Mercury needs to go to jail. He needs some charges. Since Mercury rules the mail and the conveyance of information, be extra careful when sending important documents. If you send faxes, be sure to call the people at the other end to let them know that documents are waiting for them. Otherwise, they may never see it.
Well, that's crap because you always get a confirmation back when you send a fax.
Yeah.
So they got it.
Yeah.
So I call bullshit.
And I don't know who really faxes anymore. Even with my business, my fax was through the internet.
Yeah.
So it was I would scan it. It was like an email service more than anything.
When I have had to fax anything, I use that free fax by email.
Yeah.
On the computer.
Yeah.
They just happen to get a commercial with it.
If you work in an office and have to photocopy an important document, be sure to retrieve the original. Be equally careful about who you send email to. You don't want to send a private email to the wrong person or have a sensitive email forwarded to others.
That sounds like everyday stuff.
It's like
accidentally texting the wrong person. Like one time I was talking about my ex-husband in a text, and I sent it to him.
That's great.
Yeah, it was.
That's great.
He was mad, and I was just like, get over it.
Well,
Truth hurts.
It said that, if you're involved in, a business venture with someone, or you've been hired to do something for someone, they're more likely to completely change their minds during a retrograde period and then cause you extra work, to try to handle it.
That's every day of your life.
Yeah. They always joke and say that, and they say it for more than one profession, but they say that social workers make plans and then, God just laughs and laughs and laughs because you never know from one day to the next what you're going to get into.
The main problem I could see being a social worker is that nobody else is doing their job. If people would just do their jobs, it wouldn't be bad.
We saw that a lot when we were working with the department and CPS workers and stuff
people
like that.
People want to know why Child Protective Services is a hot mess. It's because people don't do their jobs.
Yeah. And
they're overworked.
Yeah, and I think that it's they get to a point where they're like, well, I can't do I can't get anything done, so I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Miscommunications are abound during this time, so you need to kind of keep summarizing over and over what you think the other person has just told you, just to make sure that you understand.
So it's telling you to overthink?
Yeah, well, it's like if you told me hey, I want you to go throw this away. I need to look at you and be like, so you want me to throw that away?
And then I would think you were being a smart aleck.
Yeah. But I guess during retrograde, you might, it might be communicated, and I'd be like, you want me to keep it forever? I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know.
It says that Mercury retrograde periods are notorious for causing computers to crash and for machines, appliances, and other electronic devices to show signs of wear requiring urgent repair. Back up your computer in advance of any Mercury retrograde period. First of all, you should be backing up your fucking computer all the time anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the crash on your computer, Mom, was how your mother started listening to random bird sounds yesterday.
Was you listening to random bird?
I was
She was! Okay.
Not me. My
Oh, okay.
My parental unit.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was there, sitting in the room playing Xbox. All of a sudden, I hear very high-pitched bird sounds. I walk into the den. Your mother is sitting at the computer listening to bird sounds.
Yeah.
Yes, true story.
And you have, like, there's all kinds of birds right outside your... All she had to do is open the screen door.
They had been on the back deck for a while because Maddie wouldn't hang out with them. Then they came in and started playing bird sounds on the computer. And I was freaking out because, you know, all those awesome Which Way magazine print issues I got?
Oh, yeah.
They were sitting right there on the shelf.
Oh, no.
And the one on the very top says Book of Shadows, Volume 4.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, God.
God.
So I don't, no one said anything.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
But, I mean, if it gets brought up, I'll be like, you know what? You should have been looking through my shit.
Yeah.
That's all I can
Just
say.
just say they're mine.
Yeah, your mother is a snoop.
But she doesn't know you're a witch.
But she would accept it from me a lot easier than she would from you.
That's true.
And
What about me?
she likes me.
She adores you.
So she would just be like, well, you know what? Despite her ungodliness, she's still a good girl.
But what about me is the question.
Oh, she wouldn't know. If she thought you were practicing witchcraft, she would lose her mind.
Yeah.
She would be all over your mom. Mm-hmm. Mercury also rules trade and commerce, so don't buy or sell anything expensive during retrograde phases. Often you will find that the item you want is out of stock. If you did buy something expensive, such as a car, computer, or jewelry, for example, you may regret your purchase later. That's every time. It's called buyer's remorse.
I always have guilt every time I buy something.
Yeah, it's called...
Every time I go buy a big pile of groceries, I come home and feel guilty.
It's like, it was so funny with you, is like, as you're buying groceries, you're like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, I like this food. I want to get this food, you know. And even when you get home and you put it away.
Yeah.
But once it's all put away...
I'm like, is it really worth it?
Yeah, and the task is done. Then you're like, oh, I spent a lot of money.
I call you or message you every time. I just spent way too much money at the grocery store.
If you are buying or selling a house, expect problems, errors, and delays and setbacks.
Like your mother's sister.
I mean, how long did it take for your house thing to go through? I didn't know if you guys were going to survive it.
You know, it was only a few months, but it felt like 15 years.
Yeah.
Wait, was that when we didn't have air conditioning because it broke?
No, when they were buying the house.
Can you set something on top of this? Like the wipes or something?
On top of what?
The plates.
I don't want to put my shoes back on.
Don't. You don't have to. You're a child. You're supposed to be dirty.
But it took a long time. Like, it took a long, long time.
What made it so hard was we would get everything they asked for. Mm-hmm. And then they would call us up and want it again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just gave it to you.
Mom, I'm confused. What?
She wants you to
Something on
place
top of the plates.
something heavy on top of the stack of plates. Like, put the can of wipes on top. Thank you.
And then they'd say, yeah, but we need an updated one. And I'm like, it's only been 5 days. Like, what do you mean?
And I know, like, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I am almost 100% positive that was not during a retrograde period, because we would have made fun of it.
We would have.
So you were having all of these problems that it's talking about, and it was not in a retrograde period.
It's
But-
just everyday life.
Everyone I've ever spoken to that's bought a house warned me
Yes.
that buying a house will make you want to rip your hair out.
Yeah.
And it even made you say, I will never buy a house.
Like, I'm buying a house through land contract. And unless I win the lottery and I can go pay for a house just outright and not have to go through what you guys went through, I'm just going to keep buying the one I have on land
I
contract.
feel sorry for that boy right now.
Because I am never, ever, ever going to go through what you guys, like, I thought you guys were going to divorce. Like, that's how bad it was.
Very great support you have for us.
No, they fought and everything. It was horrible.
And then I was getting mad because I was the one having to handle all the paperwork.
Yeah.
And then I'd throw a fit on him, and his way of stepping in and helping handling it was calling up the loan people. Fuck you.
Yeah. And like, not helping.
Just forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made it worse.
Men.
It says that the only time you can buy something expensive during a retrograde period is if you are returning something you already bought. That just doesn't make sense. Like, you have to buy shit.
Like a refund?
Computers, high-tech items, appliances, automobiles, and other machines, electronics are highly susceptible to Mercury in retrograde period.
I like that, Mercury.
Mercury.
So basically it's saying the only thing you can buy is if you go to like one of those farm stands and buy vegetables from their garden.
For 3 weeks, you need to live
like the 1700s.
Or you're Amish.
Yeah.
Like you're homeless.
Yeah.
Mercury in retrograde, it rules moving parts. So that could be one reason why like electronics and cars and stuff, they say have a problem. Yet other things happen. You buy an air conditioner and 30 days later discover it's going on sale for much less than what you paid.
That's just
commerce.
Yeah, stores do that shit on purpose.
Well, because especially using the example of an air conditioner, because usually stores buy X amount.
Yeah.
And they try to sell them during the season because they can't hold it till the next year.
No.
So when they get closer to the end of the season, it goes on sale.
Yeah, because they're trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, so that's stupid.
So if you're trying to buy an air conditioner, peeps, if you can wait till it starts getting cold outside, and then you can get one for cheap.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you buy an expensive smartphone during a retrograde, you're going to drop it and crack its screen, or you're going to lose it soon after. Says it really does wait. It really does pay to wait and buy electronics, and I mean that's just.
There's a fly on your arm.
I mean, how long did I have my phone before I dropped it and broke it?
Long time.
A long time.
And it still works.
It still works. In past years, Mercury always seemed to retrograde during holiday shopping season. For example, in 2011, it was retrograde from Black Friday until the end of the day on December 13th. If you're driving any significant distance during a period where Mercury is retrograde, bring extra maps.
I thought you were going to say maxi pads.
Maxi pads, or make sure that your GPS is up to date. I don't have a period anymore, so
hey, lucky
that's
you.
I know. I think because especially at work, I'm around a lot of women now at work.
Oh God.
And because like before, I was just working with you, and like it didn't bother me. But then at work, like I'm noticing all these different women, and like I'll see like, I'll go to the bathroom and there'll be like a thing of pads out or a box of tampons out, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad.
There would be some days you'd pick me up for work and you'd see me come stumbling out of the door, like running into shit. My hair'd be all over the place.
Yeah, it was bad.
There were some days during that time of the month I couldn't even. She was just grateful that I woke up.
Yeah, I didn't say anything until I got some McDonald's in you.
Yeah.
They said that if you're going on a trip, you should make sure you have enough gas. That's any time.
That's common sense.
That's any time. Verify that you have the correct address and clear driving instructions. Like, you got lost coming here today.
Yeah, but that's me. That's just who I am as a person.
You don't go with directions.
No, not at all.
How many times, because I have that same problem. Like, when we would go somewhere new, I would get on Google Maps and I would like use the street view function and like so I could see what it looked like before we go. And that's the only reason that we're able to get to where we're going is because like I'm anal retentive and I go online and I look that shit up.
As we were making the wrong turn earlier, I knew I was making the wrong turn because I'm looking
did it anyway.
I'm like, I've already committed to the turn.
Yeah. The very first time I came up here, I did the same thing because it's like the sign is in the middle of the Y.
Yeah, it is.
So, like, if it was on this side of the road, then you would know to keep going straight. But it's in the middle of a Y, so you don't know which way to go.
Yeah.
Confusing.
If your car is making strange sounds, have it inspected before you leave. Duh.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if it's retrograde. You need to do that anytime.
This is all common sense being adult stuff.
Yes.
If you don't want a problem to emerge when you're on the road, you need to, like, check it out and make sure.
Or be a mechanic.
If you're flying, yeah. If you're flying, check with the airline to make sure your flight is going to take off on time. Even when the airport says it's going to happen on time, it still doesn't.
They never happen on time.
Have your luggage well marked so that it won't get lost or sent to the wrong airport.
Duh.
And bring your iPod and a good book to the airport because of the delays.
Who wrote this?
This is the first website. It's it's astrologyzone.com. Everything you need to know about Mercury retrograde.
Like, we're coming to a cookout today. And I'm like, maybe you should bring a book. Like, we made sure we had entertainment.
Yeah.
We brought
Ourselves.
a speaker for music.
Ourselves.
I mean, yeah, I don't understand.
Some people do not travel when retrograde is happening. and they said that, like, perhaps it would be wise if you do the same thing, especially if your trip is business oriented, because you don't want to, like, fuck with your travel, fuck with your business.
Because you can totally tell your boss, sorry,
Yeah, I'm just not.
I can't go. It's Mercury retrograde.
I'm giving you a look because I don't want to say it in the podcast, but you were, like, telling your boss, like, I'm sorry, I'm just not gonna.
I'm quitting.
Oh!
However, if you're returning to see a former client you've worked with in the past, traveling during the retrograde is fine. So they're like, if you're traveling for business and you've already done business with this person before, then you can get away with the retrograde. It just ignores you if you're repeating something, apparently. Some people know that business is always most likely from former clients. If you are in sales, embark on all of your former clients for special attention during these phases. So... I don't know. I hope that the people listening can hear that big, like, it sounds like we have a laugh track in the background.
Yeah, it does.
It's great.
It does. Hey, they have a water thing over there.
Okay.
We do too, right there behind the trash can.
Do we?
Yeah.
But for it's the trash can.
You can take a trip for pleasure during these periods. Actually, this could be a perfect time to go for you to get away from it all. And everyone back at the office will feel the retrograde. They will miss your quick problem-solving ability and advice when you're away. So they're saying, like...
You're sitting here thinking, no, they won't.
Yeah. So they're saying, like, if you're traveling, like, for anything other than pleasure, it's not a good time to do it.
Pleasure.
Pleasure your sign.
She said pleasure, you say.
Oh,
We thought you were going to say pleasure yourself. We were both just like, whoa.
I mean, you could.
During a retrograde phase, you might want to travel. I'm just going to skip all the traveling stuff. That's we get it. Don't do it. They're saying that, like, you should just watch, like, if you are traveling, to watch, like, keep track of your wallet. Duh.
That goes without saying.
If you have, like,
There's a fly pooping on my hot dog.
well, we got plenty more.
And covered it in chili, as the grill wouldn't work.
They're saying that you should also make sure that you have photocopies of important documents during this period, like passports, birth certificates, social security cards.
I think you should always have that.
Well,
My butt is sweating, by the way.
I'm a full-grown adult, and I've never had to make sure I had photocopies of my important documents. I keep them in important places.
It's sweaty out here.
Do you know I never found my envelope with my birth certificate and all that in it from our cruise?
Really?
Still haven't found it.
I don't have it.
I know.
I'm innocent.
Well, I know you didn't take it. It's just been because we moved after.
Could it still be at the old house?
No, it's not at the old house.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Well, no, there was nothing left at the old
Our
house.
landlady was nice. She would have
Yeah.
been like, hey, you might need this.
Romance tends to go haywire during a retrograde period. Couples tend to create miscommunications that can turn and cause a domino effect, in other... What the fuck is that?
Was that a cockroach?
Want me to kill it?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
I look down and there's a bug crawling on me. I was like, shit.
On it. There you go.
Oh, she didn't just kill it. She smeared it.
Thank you. I think it was one of those wood, because there's the wood roaches.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're
And
not
it's
actually
wood?
cockroaches. No, they just live in the woods. But you want to try not to jump to conclusions and strive for clarity in relationships during a retrograde. Your sweetheart or spouse.
Oh, you mean try to get a man to talk?
Yeah, don't try to do that any time of the year. It's not happening.
Good fucking luck.
Your
They're
sweet-
like feelings. What are those?
What is that? Your sweetheart or spouse could also have a sudden change of mind. For example, if your boyfriend or girlfriend says, I want to break up, later they could come back and be like, I really didn't mean it. I was just having a bad day.
dying.
Yeah. And it's because people aren't always thinking straight during these phases. Retrograde is notorious for creating confusion. Keep in mind that Mercury retrogrades in 3 different signs of the zodiac during the year. If it retrogrades in your sign, delays and frustrations will become even more pronounced than usual.
But
Right
what
now
about
it's in
cusps?
Leo, right?
I think so.
What about cusps?
It just if it's in your sign. They didn't go into cusps and all that.
Well,
You want a
I am
balloon?
cusp.
In this case, try to be even more vigilant and double-check proposals, ideas, creative efforts, and other plans to root out flaws or incorrect assumptions. Always go the extra mile to find errors during a retrograde. These periods demand a slow and deliberate approach. So they're saying, like as far as relationships, like if some guy proposes to you during a retrograde, be like, you know what, ask me again in 3 weeks.
That's retarded.
Or do you really mean it?
Oh, wait. I had a new word I was going to start using. That's moronic.
Moronic.
Yes.
What was it? We was on the podcast on the Salem witch trials.
Yeah.
And it said the ignoramus. Ignoramus.
Yeah.
It says so now you're like, okay, so if you're going to take stock in any of this, like any of the bullshit that I just read, okay? If you're going to take stock in any of it, you're like, what can I do then to protect myself? Like, what can I do?
From what I've just
survive?
heard, you need to live in a hole.
During these 3 weeks. It says the key solution to any retrograde problem lies in the element Mercury is found in: fire, earth, air, or water. Each year, Mercury will favor one element over another. In 2012, it was a fire sign. So that tells us that we need to apply completely new, visionary, and innovative solutions to the problems that come up. Fire signs are highly creative and also brave and pioneering. Don't be shy about suggesting a very unusual solution. I'm just keep on going. I'm just going to keep on reading. Fire signs also think on a big, broad scale, so you should think that way when you're attacking a problem during the retrograde. So that tells, like, if it happens to be during, a fire sign, like, then you would need...
Right now?
Yeah, you would need to kind of get really creative and innovative with how you deal with the problems. So if it's in an earth sign, you want to be very practical about finding a solution and strictly adhere to the limits or time or budget. Money often plays a big part of both the problem and the answer when Mercury is retrograde.
Money issues are always a problem for everyone.
I don't care what sign you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, the cost of living compared to what people make, it's not evened out.
No, it's not. Like, I wouldn't be able to survive if I had a car payment.
Yeah, you'd be toast. You'd be in my basement.
I mean, I'm barely making it now. Mm-hmm. And so, but you would probably...
But not for long!
Yeah. You would probably do best by not suggesting, a blue sky idea, which would have worked with Mercury in a fire sign.
What the hell is that?
I don't know. We have to look that up.
I'm not going to ask.
What?
What a blue sky idea.
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to look it up. If Mercury retrograde is in an air sign, lots of discussion will need to take place, as air signs are highly communicative.
Am I an air sign?
Gemini?
Yeah.
Well, you're a cusp.
I know. What is my cusp again?
Taurus on a
A
cusp.
Tauremini.
Yeah, Taurus.
Yeah.
I'm a Livergian.
She's a Livergian.
I'm just Cancer.
Hey,
I'm not on a cusp.
I got a massage.
Talk to a lot of people and poll their responses. Do a great deal of research too. Air signs are analytical and modern. If you hear of a solution that is new, you may not even have to know it to know that it's possible. Use the answer that seems best. I don't know. A lot of this doesn't make sense. I just will keep reading because I don't believe in any of it, so I don't need to know why it makes sense.
Good point.
Use the answer that seems best for you after going through this process, and make sure you are objective and not emotional in choosing your answer. Now, if it's in a water sign, which I'm a water sign as a Cancer, if it's in a water sign, use your intuition. Research can be driven by the way questions are asked. So if your research says to go a certain way, but your intuition tells you to reject the research, follow your gut. Intellect can only get us so far. Often our emotional intelligence is more accurate. If Mercury retrogrades in a water sign, it's an instant signal to start listening to that small voice within. So here's like you were asking about signs. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius are all fire signs.
Yes.
Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are earth signs. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius are air signs. And then Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces are all water signs.
Like, wouldn't like a cusp be like kind of like two?
I would have to research it more.
Yeah, your mom and I aren't really like all into the astrology. Like
You're supposed to be our astrology person.
you know way more about astrology than what we do. But from my limited knowledge, I think what it means is like if you're born on a cusp, then like your mom is Gemini. Like her birthday places her in Gemini. But because she's a cusp, she might have some of those traits from whatever her cusp is.
I definitely know I'm a Libra.
So, if you read the description of a Gemini, that's me to a T.
Yeah.
And as far as any Taurus traits, I would say, yeah, I'm a little bit bullheaded about stuff.
Yes.
So they did put, so let's see, you said you were what? You're an air sign?
Yeah.
So let's see, all air signs, air signs are all about action, ideas, and motion. They are the winds of change. When a strong gust hits you, you can't help but move. While some within their ranks may be true life airheads, others are as powerful as a gravity-defying G-force. Air signs bring everyone a breath of fresh air when things start to get stale. Like the breeze, you can't quite catch them, and you never know where they'll drop once they sweep you up.
What about fire?
Where they'll drop you once they sweep you up. It will almost always be an adventure, though, and that kind of goes along with you. Like you're very flighty.
Oh yeah.
Airy, moving from one thing to the next.
And it's like in my mind, everything makes sense, but when I try to express it, I look like a freaking idiot.
Well, and I've noticed even with projects, like it takes you a long time to finish a project.
Yeah, my mom calls me flip flop because I'm always flip flopping back and forth between things. Yeah. So, I get bored very easily.
What are you again, Offspring?
Leo.
Leo, so you're a fire sign.
Yeah.
Like it's like fire itself. Fire signs tend to be passionate, dynamic, and temperamental. Fire can keep you warm, or it can do great destruction.
Yep.
While fire burns out quickly without fuel to keep it going, it can also regenerate its power from the ashes. A single spark can set off a forest fire. As a result, fire signs need to be nurtured and managed carefully.
I can agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, because and it's like with her, you don't know, like and this has even happened. We've all been sitting real quiet, just like watching TV. She's usually on her phone.
Yeah.
And then like all of a sudden she's like, "Fuck that!" And she just goes off, and we're both looking at her like, "What the fuck just happened?"
We're looking at Aquaman. What are you? What are you doing?
So I'm a water sign, and water signs are, intuitive, emotional, and ultra sensitive.
Yes.
Thanks, madam. Water signs can be as mysterious as the ocean itself. Like water, they can be refreshing, or they can drown you in their depths. These signs often have intense dreams and borderline psychic intuition. It's not borderline for me, but security is important to them. Yes. After all, water needs a container, or it dries up and disappears.
Are you drying up?
Right now,
No.
Are you shriveling away?
No.
My sanity at Vegas in this hot park, yes.
You know what? You should be thankful that we have the pavilion. Because remember at Beltane, how fucking hot it was at Beltane? Like, this at least is comfortable.
I wish I had a fan.
Yeah.
Use this plate.
Hey, there you go.
Thank you.
So the other one, of course, we don't have anyone here that's Earth, but Earth signs keep it real. They are the grounded people on the planet, the ones who will bring us down to Earth and remind us to start with a solid foundation. Slow and steady, these builders are loyal and stable and stick by their people through hard times. On good days, they're practical. At worst, they can be materialistic or too focused on the surface of things to dig into the depths. What is your husband?
He's an air sign. Aquarius.
He's Aquarius, yeah.
Nobody ever knows what he thinks because he didn't talk.
He's a man, too.
Yeah.
So Earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Do we know any Taurus, Virgos, or Capricorns?
My sister, one of my sisters is a Taurus.
Okay.
Carrie?
So on their bad days, they can be materialistic and too focused on the surface of things.
Extremely hard-headed.
Yeah. So now we enter into the portion of the podcast, and literally, like, the heading for it is, why is this full of shit?
Because it is.
Because it is. So, according to astrological gurus and the flocks who follow them, the 3 periods each year when Mercury appears to be moving backwards are, in total pandemonium. And they say it's a time, of course, like we said, when everything's going to kind of be in havoc and blah, blah, blah.
Cry havoc!
Yeah. And this guy's like, well, too bad. It's total nonsense.
That was a Star Trek reference.
Yeah.
Oh, I never watched Star Trek.
He says Mercury retrograde isn't responsible for the G train being late or your iPhone freezing up any more than that black cat that crossed your path gave you bad luck.
I agree.
Yeah, it's like it's all just superstitious bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why they have such a hard time adopting black cats out of shelters. Mm-hmm. Is because they have this, like, idea that it's evil, it's bad luck, and, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I did hear the legends that most people believe, like, black cat's like a witch's cat.
Yeah. It says that, belief in Mercury retrograde is getting stronger and stronger, and has a lot to do with social media feeds that are filled with comments from otherwise logical, educated people who take the phenomenon seriously. And then he kind of quoted some stuff that he actually found online, of people that are, like, educated, So he said that there's a female writer in Brooklyn, and she had asked, is Mercury still in retrograde? Emails have been getting misplaced like a mofo over on my end. So she's a writer in New York, and she's, thinking.
How do you misplace an email?
Either it's in your outgoing box and hasn't went yet, or it's went and it's in their spam folder.
Yeah.
It went somewhere.
Yeah.
It didn't just disappear. And then there's a business consultant in South Carolina says that she won't sign official documents or finalize during a retrograde.
There's a wasp.
He says here that searches for the phrase Mercury retrograde more than doubled between 2004 and 2015, according to Google Trends.
That's because more people have internet.
Or they're just getting dumber.
Yeah.
And retrograde survival guides have seeped from hokey astrology sites to mainstream websites like Elle, Refinery 29, and The Cut. Here's another one. It's like, Mercury is in retrograde again. Fine. Throws all electrics into the bathtub and gets in. So, like, might as well just destroy them all. Here's another one. My suicide note will literally just say Mercury is in retrograde with my signature at the bottom. The origin of observing cosmic phenomena goes back thousands of years when people thought the cosmos revolved around the Earth, long before Google and Neil deGrasse Tyson. But Mercury never actually retrogrades. It's just an illusion caused by the rotation of Earth.
That was going to be my bullshit point.
Yeah.
People are saying it's in retrograde, but it's not. It's not changing at all.
It's kind of like when, like, David Copperfield would make, like, the building disappear. It didn't really disappear. It's a trick of the eye. It's an illusion.
Mercury's up there like, what did I ever do to anybody?
And then I like the point that he has here. He says, the last time a planet had any effect on us is when a chunk of rock that would eventually become Mars crashed into Earth and created the moon 4.5 billion years ago.
Oh.
He said that's the last time any planet ever had any effect on Earth.
Wait.
Yeah, he says
He says that's where the moon came from?
Yeah, he says.
Then why is it round?
Because it's spinning in space.
But how can it become a circle in space?
It's just like if you think about, like, water in a river and how it'll wash away stone or smooth down stones and change the shape.
But there's no air in space.
But we're still spinning. That's how our clouds and stuff and our atmosphere. Like, we're still moving.
I'm confused.
I'd have to read about that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask any more questions. I'll also get more confused.
Oh, God, why am I covered in bugs? There's a second bug today.
They love you.
Apparently.
They're going where you didn't spray.
I noticed.
Your breasticles.
Well, yeah. Are you want me to spray my tits?
Here, I'll do it.
I will spray my own tits.
No. I already have the bottle in my hand. Let me do it.
Spray my boobs. Okay, you don't drown me. Jesus.
She's like, they're not that big.
And she had the bottle like an inch from my skin. Jesus.
That's fantastic.
So, and what I like about this one too is he actually went and checked, and because of course they say that retrograde is a bad time to sign documents and stuff like that. So if it's a bad time to sign documents, no one told the signers of the Declaration of Independence, the Japanese who surrendered during World War II.
That's right.
Or Lyndon B. Johnson who signed the Voting Rights Act. Those all happened during retrograde. Like every single one of those happened during a retrograde, and those were important.
Yeah, really important.
Like what if the founding fathers had been like, you know what, we need to wait 3 weeks, and then in that 3 weeks, I don't know, England come over and is like bad kids and slapped us,
slap our wieners.
Yeah, I did that today.
I bet you
She
enjoyed
did,
it.
guys. You should have seen her slapping that wiener.
Smacked a wiener.
I bet you liked it.
I didn't like it because it was your wiener.
Yeah, very. Thank you for slapping off the chili off my hot dog.
Yeah, she had to clarify. She did not. Because I suck at starting a fire in a grill. Apparently, like a whole bag of charcoal briquettes are out there.
We couldn't get it lit.
Like we used all the paper we could find. I didn't bring any lighter fluid because I'm afraid of fire, and you don't want me having anything
And I'm a fire sign.
super combustible around me, so I didn't buy any. So we ended up just shoving, because I have my crock pot here, and we just shoved the wieners down inside the hot dog sauce, and she didn't want any sauce, so I had to beat her wiener
Hot dog sauce.
on the side.
That's a new one for me.
What?
Hot dog sauce.
I can make that bad.
I've never heard that before.
You've never heard it called hot dog sauce?
No.
Just like what, chili?
I just call it chili.
It's hot dog sauce.
That sounds so bad.
Don't make fun of me. I'm from Webster.
I'm sure a lot of other people say it.
Well, and what's funny is I joke all the time about I'm from Webster, but in my family we have things that we say that no one else does, anywhere ever.
That's accurate.
So anyway, so he did. Your leg is itching probably because you got bit by a bug.
You didn't put any bug spray on.
You should spray again.
She didn't have any on.
No, that's why I'm saying we're close to you.
So, but all of those major events happen during a retrograde period, like every single one of them. So when astrologers say that Mercury is going retrograde, people react as if the Ebola virus
They do.
is being let into the solar system. It's ridiculous. So now we're going to kind of look at it because that was all the research part of it. So now we'll talk a little bit about our take on it and what we believe and why we just, first of all, the law of attraction.
Well, I couldn't really hear the relationship part because I wasn't paying attention.
Well, I mean, basically it's saying that that there's a lot of miscommunications in relationships during a retrograde. And you take things more personally than what they were meant. People may snap at you when they didn't mean to, or you may think they're being mean when they're not. And really that's every single day in a relationship.
Yeah.
Communication, if you don't have communication in a relationship, retrograde or not, it's going to fail.
What's funny to me is communication in a close relationship shouldn't be harder than communicating with everyday people in your life.
Yeah.
But it is.
It really is. And I think it's because you love each other so much and you don't want to hurt each other's feelings and you're worried about causing problems. Mm-hmm. So you don't say stuff that you would say to your friend.
And apparently I'm mouthy and pretty blunt, even when I don't realize it.
Yeah.
Mom, am I blunt?
Yes, you are.
Good.
But you and I, we believe in the law of attraction, and that whatever you put out to the universe is what the universe sends back to you. So we believe that if you believe in the retrograde.
Yeah, if you're like, oh my God, I'm about to have a shitty 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The universe is like, okay.
It's like, is that what you want? Are you sure? No, in the cooler. They're cold ones in the cooler.
The
Please.
cooler.
Just set it on the counter and bring me a cold one. It's
Are
too
you
hot to
stuttering
have.
now?
It's too hot to have warm water.
That was a water boy joke.
A bug got in her hair. So that we do believe that if you think that you're about to have a bad time,
You will.
then by God, you're about to have a bad time. You know? So, you know, we don't really put any, thank you, honey. We don't put any credence to it. We don't believe in it, so it doesn't affect us like it
I
does
don't
other
think
people.
about it.
Now I'm having a particularly shitty week at work.
I thought you were going to say a drippy time because
Yeah.
it's,
I am drippy.
Well, great.
let's just leave it at that and not explain. Let's leave it a mystery.
No, I can make that bad.
Yeah.
Hey,
I was flinging some of my drippiness on her.
thank you. I enjoyed the drippiness.
It's cold, right? Feels nice. Anyway,
I can make.
but I'm having a particularly shitty week at work.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that it's happening during, like, if it wasn't retrograde, it still would be happening.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
It's like that all the time.
Yeah. And I've been there for just a little over, like, probably right at a month now.
Yeah, I'm just now adjusting to your schedule.
Yeah, I've been there a month. So, like, I've reached the point where I've been there long enough where things are really, like, I can't ignore them anymore and they're bothering me.
Yeah.
And it just happened to coincide with a retrograde. It has nothing to do with a retrograde.
No.
So, and I like, and you were talking earlier too about like, okay, let's, you know, because you were thinking like, okay, maybe like you're like, okay, if I'm going to put any credence to it whatsoever, maybe it's just affecting certain signs
Yes.
and
Are
certain.
your boobs going red?
I'm probably turning red from all of the bug spray you sprayed on my tits.
You're welcome.
But so you were thinking like, you know, if we're going to say it's real at all, maybe it's only affecting certain signs, certain people.
Yeah.
So if it's affecting everybody around me and causing them to act like fucking morons, then of course it's going to affect me because I'm around those people, you know.
But they always act like morons. Too.
True.
Well, I'm pretty
True.
sure most people today are just stupid.
But no, so you and I don't believe in it, but I thought like there may be some people listening. And you know, and if you do, that's fine. Keep living your life, you know, whatever you want to do.
Don't do anything till
don't
Mercury Retrograde.
Mercury Retrograde.
It's over.
So, because right now, from July 7th to the 31st, is the retrograde period that we're in right now, and it starts in a fire sign in Leo, and it ends in a water sign, Cancer. Okay, whatever that means, I don't know, but that's what it says. We have one more period in 2019, and that's October 31st to November 20th will be the next retrograde. And then in 2020, there's three. You know, we had one from March 5th to March 28th before this one. So in 2020, February 18th to March 9th, and then June 17th to July 12th, and then October 13th to November 3rd.
See, I have so much going on in my life. I don't have time to worry about scheduling shit around when Mercury appears to be spinning backwards.
Yeah. And then one more in 2021, January 30th to February 20th, May 29th to June 22nd, and September 27th to October 18th.
My ass hurts.
Now, if you wanted, I only did like up to 2021, but if you wanted a more extensive list, the website that I got this off of, I mean, it goes all the way up into like 2030, I think. Like, so if you really wanted to plan out your retrogrades, go to astrologyzone.com, everything you need to know about Mercury retrograde, and you can get all of the times that you need. So you know when to hide in your hole.
Yes. So basically 3 months a year.
Yeah.
I'm always hiding in my hole.
Yeah. This is true. This is true.
So you're afraid of fire, and I'm a fire sign.
Well, but I'm not afraid of fire signs. I'm afraid of actual fire. Like I'm afraid I'm going to burn to death.
No.
And like I mean, I have such an irrational fear of fire that like even every single day when I come home, I look to see if my house is still there.
It's probably something happened to you in a past life.
It probably is. I mean, literally every single day when I come down through the road and I can look on that back alley and see my house, I look to make sure I still have a house.
Yeah, you need a past life regression done.
Yeah. And like,
all I know is that I was some Hispanic person in my past life.
like I can deal with like candles, and I can deal with like, you know, my dragon's breath spray and like, you know, that, but like if that grill had like actually started and we were able to get it lit and like going, I would not have been comfortable doing it. Now put me on a propane grill and I'm fine because I can turn it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never.
We have a water thing right there.
Yeah, and that's why it's there.
I would have just rolled you under the water.
Yeah.
Put you out.
You'd have been like, stop, drop, and roll, bitch.
I'd be like, roll that way.
And just so you know that there is a bunch of water in the cooler.
Yeah.
Like you could just dump it on me because it's icy water. But I don't know. I'm like I said, every day when I come home, like, and it's not just from being on all day at work. Like if I would go to your house, like anytime I drive home, no matter how long I've been gone, I look to see if I still have a house when I get there.
You've got some fears.
Yeah. So you're like, I'm learning something new about my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, the language, the Spanish language always sounds so familiar to me.
Yeah. You may have been Spanish in another life.
She was a conquistador.
A what? Are those a thing?
They
Yep.
were.
They were.
All right, guys.
Okay, that's it. We got some other podcasts coming up. You know, that one was kind of like very dry and like sciencey, and
I like science.
but we figured since it's a thing that's going on right now,
And please,
That looks like fresh paint.
don't show up at Area 51 in September or whenever it is, and
don't do, because you'll die.
Yeah.
You'll just die. And then if you don't die, you're going to be arrested.
like I figure
And-
what'll happen is all the idiots that show up, they'll all just disappear, and there'll be a big cover-up story, like there was some tragedy.
Like some gas leak and
Yeah.
explosion. And,
Yeah, something. Like all of a sudden the earth will open up and they'll get swallowed.
You know what would be great is if like the guards that are posted like around the fence of Area 51 like just decided that day to wear some like alien mask
Oh, that'd be great.
and just like standing out there with their guns, like,
Yeah.
in an alien mask, just like, sup.
I mean, because I think as far as I know, everybody knows there's aliens except the hardcore Christians.
Yeah, because they don't believe that there's dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Like-
So, I mean, we all know the government has alien technology. For some reason, they don't want to let us know.
Well,
But
because I was watching an episode of Star Trek once, and it kind of made me think a little bit, because like there was an explosion like in like one of the ships had went back in time, and like someone from back in that time got a hold of the technology. So here on Earth there was like an explosion of this like high-end technology. And if you think about it, like that's kind of what happened to us.
yeah.
Like we went from 0 to 100 real quick with technology.
Well, they there's lots of stuff in TV shows and movies that are actually accurate, but we think it's science fiction.
Yeah.
But it's the way that media works with the government to desensitize us to stuff,
Yeah.
so that when it does come public, we're not as freaked out.
Yeah.
So,
Because my dad was 70 when he died. And in his lifetime, he went from radio to black and white television to color television, like all the way up into cell phones and stuff.
yeah.
And it's like, so now here we are now, and like, yeah, we have the cell phones and stuff, but like really the technology hasn't gotten any more advanced than that. Mm-hmm. So if you think about how quickly it went from radio to like cell phones and stuff like that.
It was real quick.
It was quick, and we haven't had an explosion like that since.
What makes me mad is that they have medical advancements that they haven't
Yeah.
released. That's what makes me mad.
That little boy is way too small to be climbing that ladder by himself. He looks like maybe 2, 3.
He might be 4.
That's what
Hey, you're not working today.
Well, I'm just like, I'm thinking like he falls from that height. Okay, here comes some adults.
He's not gonna fall.
Here comes some adults. Okay, anyway. But yeah, I agree. Like there has to be.
There is.
There has to be. And to go from like the type of aircraft we have to like a fucking stealth plane.
Yeah.
Like how did that happen?
Yeah.
But there hasn't been anything comparable.
If you guys want to watch a really cool show that'll fuck you up, and it's all true, you can watch it on Amazon Prime, iTunes, the Microsoft Store. It's called Above Majestic, and it's about these whistleblowers coming forth with information all about aliens and the government and all this crap. You'll be pretty pissed off after you watch it, but it's really good. It's really good.
All right, I think that's it for this episode.
That's it.
It's too hot. I want to go home.
I'm RavenWynd.
I'm Rain.
And remember, it's
Magic, motherfuckers.
What about me?